episode 15, Armed and Dangerous, because ain't too many can bang with us. Now, we took a we took a 2 week break, about a 2 week break from Batwoman, and when the show came back, and I was just like, all right, Batwoman's back. Let's, I forgot Luke got shot. He got legit forgot he got shot, and yeah, like. I wasn't happy about that. I wasn't happy about that when it happened the first time, because like Luke's one of my favorite characters, like Luke and Sophie are my two favorite characters on the show. But he's been shot, and he's on his way to the hospital. The Crows, they're doing a review on Tagaroff because he was the one that shot him, and Tagaroff was just like, oh, the suspect Lucius Fox pulled a gun on me. He never mentioned the car thief. Like, he never mentioned the car thief, which I thought was straight up grimy. He said that Luke had pulled out a gun on him, and in order to protect himself, he shot first. And then one of the white dudes that was in the office, he was like, oh, you should be commended for your bravery. And I was just like, all right, so and then Jacob Kane, he was like, we'll review the body cam footage, and then we'll see what happens. So these mother effers, they they photoshopped, they doctored, whatever the term you want to use. They basically fixed the body cam footage to show that instead of Luke pulling out his phone, they edited it to make it look like he actually did pull out a gun. So there was a rally in Gotham. Everybody was trying to get justice for Luke, and Tagaroff was just like, oh, because Batwoman ran up on him, and then she tried to whoop Tagaroff's ass because she found out that he was the one that shot Luke after she spoke to the guy who tried to jack the car. And then he was just like, oh, the Crows did it. And then she went after Tagaroff. And then, after she went after Tagaroff, he was just like, oh, Luke Fox was a known criminal anyway, because he said that before I shot him, he had just got released from prison. And I was just like, yeah, that was the prison episode. That was the episode where Ryan and Luke got arrested for being black on a Friday night. So, so in Tagaroff's mind, he's trying to justify. I mean, and it's sad because he doesn't know the circumstances and why they got arrested. He's just like, oh, you got arrested, which means you're clearly a criminal, which means I did the world a favor, which means you deserve to get shot at some point anyway. And that's jacked up. Like, that's completely jacked up. So now Batwoman's like really upset, and then Tagaroff like hits her with his car, and I'm like, was someone driving the car? Like, does he have like remote control to the car? He hits it with the car. He jumps in his car and he runs away. Batwoman MVP Sophie Moore shows up, and she's talking to Ryan because they're trying to figure out how they can clear Luke's name, because like Sophie said, she was just like, as soon as Luke wakes up from his coma, they're going to try to charge him with weapons possession. So Sophie was just like, because that's not true, we have to do something about this in order to clear his name. And then, because Sophie was the one that told them, she said that they have the ability to edit, to edit body cam footage to steer things into their favor. And then, Ryan was just like, well, shit, bitch. She's like, how many times have you done this? Or like, how many times have you known about this and didn't say anything? And then, the two of them got into an argument, and then, Ryan got upset, and then she was, because in the end, Sophie was just like, yo, you keep coming at me about all this Crow business. She's like, yo, I quit last week. And then, then she told her, she was like, she's like, I'm not the one that you're mad at. She said, I'm not the one that shot Luke. So she's like, why are you mad at me? And then Ryan was just like, she's like, I'm not mad at you. She's like, I'm mad at me because in the last episode, I told Luke he was privileged and he was a spoiled rich kid and he needs to step up and come from behind the desk. So he tried to go out there, try to put some respect on his name, and then he ended up getting shot. So like, she kind of like blames herself. And then Sophie and Ryan like embrace and like hug each other, while Ryan's crying. So Sophie let her know that in order for them to save Luke, they need to actually get the body cam footage so they can show like the original copy and show that the Crows tried to alter, try to alter that. And she said that all the body cam footage goes into a server, and then all that video footage gets deleted at 3 o'clock in the morning. She was like, it's like 1 and some change right now, so we got to go down there and you got to get your hands on that footage. So Batwoman suits up, she jumps in the suit, she flies down, and then she goes to try to retrieve the footage. Sophie goes and talks to Commander Cade, and then she's just like, listen, I need you to review the case because, Tagaroff, like he's lying about what happened and blah, blah, blah. And then, and then Commander Cade, he's just like, oh, but you quit the Crows, Sophie Moore, you were my number 2. And then, she was just like, I quit the Crows because y'all some bullshit. And then, she was just like, we just found out like last year that Lucius Fox's murder was a Crow cover-up, and now we're going down that same road again with another Fox person. So she was just like, yo, like, some bullshit going on here. And she's like, that's why I left. But she said, if you're real about what you were saying about making a difference as far as the Crows are concerned, then she was like, just look into it. So he looks into it, and then he finds out, I guess he found out something. They never said if he found anything or not, but he I guess like certain things didn't add up. So he did assume that Togaroff did do something underhanded, but he was just like, oh, he brought Togaroff in, and he was just like, oh, you're suspended. I want your badge and your gun. And then he was just like, he said like, we'll do a full investigation, and until then you're off the team. And then, Togaroff got mad, actually punched him in the face and knocked him out, because he was just like, because his whole thing is he's such a coward as far as he knows that he accidentally killed, like shot and almost killed like an unarmed man. So, but instead of just like owning up to that, he wants to save his own ass and try to like doctor footage and all this other thing. So he's not going to let Jacob Kane turn him in, and also all the other officers that was with him. So all of them actually banded together, because he got a whole crew here. He got a whole crew of like dirty crows that they all snatched up Commander Kane. They dragged him into the office, and then they were just like, oh, we're going to shoot him full of the drug. I forgot the name of the drug now. The drug that he's been snake bite. He said that, we're gonna pump him full of snake bite, so this way, like he ODs and then he dies. And then one person was just like, do we really want to kill the commander? He was like, yo, he about to turn us in. So he's like, it's either him or it's us. Sophie had saw that on the cameras because she was in the Batcave monitoring like the monitors. And then when she saw that going down, she told Ryan, she was like, yo, you got to get in there and save Commander Kane. But then, Ryan was at the server, so she was trying to get the body cam footage, and she said, I didn't find the footage yet of Luke, of Luke getting shot. And then she was just like, yo, you're gonna have to pick one now, because she's like, you can't get that footage and save Commander Kane. So she ditched the footage. She went after Commander Kane. She beat up all the dirty crows. Her and Togaroff got into a fight. She put him down, and then she walked over to Jacob Kane, and Jacob Kane was like, thanks for saving my life. And then she was just like, look, bro, she was like, there's some bullshit going on around here. There's a lot of dirty crows going on around here. And she said that you're a good person, you have good intentions, and you want to do good things, but she's like, dead ass, you need to burn this bad boy to the ground and start over from scratch. And then she was just, she said, I just gave you the gasoline, I just gave you the match. She's like, you need to light this bitch and burn this burn this bad boy to the ground. While all this was going on, Mary ended up getting the Desert Rose, and she made like a formula of the Desert Rose that she was going to use to save Luke's life. So now when the Desert Rose came into play, because I forgot about the Desert Rose, when the Desert Rose came into play, I was just like, oh, so this is basically going to be the new version of the Lazarus Pit. But it did come with some stakes, because it wasn't just like, oh, anybody gets shot, you just give them Desert Rose. Like, no, like there were actual stakes here, because although Mary came up with a Desert Rose concoction, they even brought back the guy that played the Black Wolf, the Spider Wolf, or like the dude who was at the gallery thing, and then he was stealing his own paintings and he got run over by a crow's car. They brought him back because Mary couldn't get into Luke's room to see him, so she brought that guy, Spider Wolf or whatever. She brought him in. He snuck into Luke's room and he gave Luke the injection of the Desert Rose formula. But the stakes here was, although they gave him the formula, it worked too, because Mary even said that his vitals went back to normal, his wounds have healed. She said that, yo, he's actually 100% fine and he should be waking up right now. But he didn't wake up yet, and the reason why he didn't wake up yet was because after he got shot, he ended up in purgatory. He ended up on the line, where he has the choice of crossing over into the light, because they were in Wayne Tower and there was white light all over the place. He had the option of, he saw his dad standing over by the window. When he went to go talk to his dad, he got stopped by Bruce Wayne. And it was cool, like the actor who plays Bruce Wayne, I'm glad they brought him back, and they need to bring him back more often. They need to bring him back and have him spread out through all these Arrowverse shows. Like, if he doesn't put the Batman suit on, fine, but they need to have that Bruce Wayne character pop up more in the CW. So he was there. And then he told Luke, he was just like, yo, we're in your subconscious, we're basically in purgatory. And then he told him dead ass, he said that you're at a crossroads where you have to make a choice. He said that, you're upstairs. He said that you're in a hospital fighting for your life. The girls just gave you the Desert Rose, so your body's going to heal. But although your body's going to heal, you can actually choose to ignore all that, and you can go over and talk to your dad. But he was just like, just know that once you go talk to your dad, like that's it. You know, like you're gone, and you can't, and you can't come back. So he said, but you're the one that has to make that choice and has to make that decision. So that was a good thing to do, because it was just like, oh, we'll just give him the desert rose and everything's fine. There's still consequences and choices here, and then Bruce even told him, he said that you're living in a world where no matter how much good that you do, no matter how many people you save, despite the fact that you used to work for Batman and 2 different Batwomen, he said there are a lot of people that are going to hate you, and there are a lot of people that are going to think you deserve to get shot just because you're black, and because they just believe the crows, they believe the government no matter what the government says. He said there's a lot of people that's going to hate you despite all the good that you do. And then here's was the shocking part about it. Luke actually agreed with him, and then he was just like, you're right, and I don't want to live in a world like that. He was just like, it's very depressing, and he gave up. He was dead ass. He told Bruce dead ass. He was like, yo, I don't want to live in that world anymore. He's like, I just want to be with my dad. And I was just like, well, damn. I didn't see that coming. I honestly did not see that coming. And then even Bruce was just like, all right, well, shit. He was like, well, that's your decision. Bruce moved out of the way, and then Luke went to go talk to his dad. Luke basically chose to kill himself, and he went to go talk to his dad. And then as his dad was turning around, like to embrace him, then I guess the desert rose finally kicked in all the way. And then Luke woke up in the hospital. And when he woke up in the hospital, like Mary was there, Ryan was there. And before he woke up, Mary, basically gave Luke the "I need you" speech. And I was just like, uh-oh, this might be Mary's feelings starting to manifest for him. When Luke woke up, you could tell like he wasn't happy. He wasn't just like, oh my God, like, thank goodness I'm alive. He actually looked pissed. He definitely legit looked angry. So I feel like when next week's episode comes, he's not, like I said, he's not going to be in a good mood. And then he's probably gonna struggle with the rest of the cast members, because they're all gonna be like, oh, your life was saved and you're back with us, and he's gonna be like, I ain't want this shit. He's gonna be like, I wanted to go be with my daddy. And then it's gonna be interesting. It's like the fallout for that's gonna be interesting. But more on that in a second. The Alice portion of the show, she was still in Nigma's room, and there was a nice little reveal there, because Ocean had came back. Because remember, like, Ocean and Alice, they killed, well, Ocean broke Nigma's neck, and Ocean killed her in the last episode. While Alice was going through all of her files, Ocean came back to basically bury the body and hide the evidence. And then Alice said, yeah, that's a good idea considering whose daughter that is. And I was just like, wait, what? And then she picked up a cane, and she had the Riddler cane. And then Ocean was just like, well, damn, riddle me that. And I was just like, yo, that was the Riddler's daughter. Like, oh, snap. No wonder why her name was, like, Nigma was actually like her last name. like her first name was whatever, and then her last name was actually Nigma. So they just killed the Riddler's daughter on Batwoman. So I'm just like, are we going to get the Riddler now? Like, is the Riddler going to pop up? This is getting very good. If they do bring back the Riddler, if they do introduce the Riddler on Batwoman, because I think that's what Batwoman needs. So they need more recognizable Batman villains on the show. They have been doing a lot of name drops lately. They name dropped, like the Penguin, like Catwoman, the Joker, and now the Riddler. So a lot of name drops did happen, but we do actually need to see these people. But the cool thing but the thing is, if they do that, if they start bringing in like Batman villains, I want them to use the actors from Gotham. Because if you can get the actor who played the Riddler on Gotham to pop up on Batwoman, that would be dope. So then like the two of them started talking, and then he was, Ocean told her, he was just like, listen, he was like, how I feel about you, but I don't agree with you, trying to save your sister because, your sister doesn't care about you. And then, she was just like, oh, you say that you love me, but if you really love me, she was like, but I want you. She's like, I want my sister. And if you really love me, you'd want me to have everything. And then the two of them had sex and got it on. And then Alice went to go talk to Mary and told, because Alice found out that Black Mask has a whole file that he's doing based on the Kane family and the Hamilton family as well, the Hamilton Kane family. So there's a whole file on all of them. He's stalking all of them. He has his sights set on all of them. So Alice actually went to Wayne Tower. She spoke to Mary, and she told Mary, she's like, yo, just watch your back because Black Mask is coming for that ass. Jacob Kane ended up doing a press conference where he said that based on the evidence of, Luke Fox being set up, being set up and then shot wrongfully by the Crows, he said that that's not why he started the Crows. He said that the reason why he started the Crows was to have an organization dedicated to protecting Gotham where the GCPD couldn't, because of what happened with the Joker kidnapping like all those kids on that bus, which incidentally, resulted in Beth and his wife falling into the ocean, which is what murdered his wife and how he lost his daughter. So that's why he created the Crows. But he was just like, yo, somewhere we got away from that. We got away from what the whole point of this was. So he was like, effective immediately, since I'm the majority shareholder, I'm blowing this bad boy up and I'm shutting down the Crows. And then I thought Ryan was going to do like 13 backflips. And she really did it. So then, so he threw in the towel, he walked away, him and Sophie talked, and then she was just like, you're doing the right thing, sir. And he was just like, I know more. And then he left, he got in his car. And then when he got, because now I'm thinking, because at this point, when he was walking in his car, I was like, yo, somebody about to kill him. Because I was like, because based on everything that just happened, if the Crows are no more, I was just like, I don't think we need Jacob Kane on the show anymore. So I was like, somebody about to kill his ass. And I will say this, I thought dismantling the Crows was very drastic. I did not believe he did the right thing by dismantling the Crows. I felt the move that he should have made was to keep the Crows around, but step down as like the CEO, or step down as like the leader of the Crows, and put Sophie in charge so Sophie can clean the damn thing up. Even if you're going to blow the whole thing up, it's like, okay, blow the whole thing up, but then have Sophie rebuild it. And because he chose to not let Sophie rebuild the Crows, I thought that was a mistake on his part. So anyway, so he goes into his car. While he's getting in his car, like, Alice is there, and she's just like, well, I've broken into this parking lot 50 million times, so apparently dismantling the Crow security was a good idea. And he was like, what do you want, Alice? Like, he doesn't call her Beth anymore. And then she basically told him, she was like, yo, Kate's alive. And then he was just like, not this bullshit again. And then she was like, no, like, Kate's actually alive. She said that she's alive and she's here in Gotham. And she said that you and I are going to do the one thing that you and Kate couldn't do for me, which was rescue my ass from somebody that's holding me captive. So now Jacob has a mission where him and his daughter are going to team up together, and Ocean's going to be involved too, obviously. They're going to team up together to go look for Kate and bring Kate back, to the land of the living. So that was it. That was that was Batwoman. And because I watched this on the CW when it came on, I did get to see the coming attractions for next episode. And boy, next episode is going to be something, because we finally get to see Kate Kane's face. Luke goes on a mission now to try to take down Tagaroth, which is weird because I thought Tagaroth was in prison, but maybe he breaks out or whatever. And then there was the big elephant in the room, the big green elephant in the room. Diggle pops up in next week's episode of Batwoman. And I knew that David Ramsey, we were supposed to have David Ramsey week, where he was going to guest star on every single DC superhero show except for Black Lightning, because that's the only one that's not shot in Vancouver. And though it makes the most sense for him to have been on Black Lightning, because him and Lynn are sisters. Lynn did name drop him on an episode of Black Lightning this season. So who knows, maybe that'll happen sometime in the future. We'll get that. But he's supposed to appear on everybody's show. Legends, I think Legends is supposed to be the last show he's supposed to appear on, which kind of makes sense because Sarah is trapped in space, and if Diggle got the ring, then obviously he would be in outer space. But Diggle pops up on next week's episode, and there's a scene with him talking to Luke, and I'm sitting here like, I didn't even know he knew Luke. So I'm like, oh, so all black people just know each other. But I want to know why he knows Luke. I want to know how him and Luke got in that conversation. And for the love of God, does this man have the ring? Like, we know he has the ring, but does he use the ring? So this is going to be really cool. I want to see Diggle interact with everybody. And hopefully it's a big, I'll take whatever I can get from David Ramsey, because Dig was the man. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Like, I'll be here front and center for that Batwoman reveal on next week, and to see Luke's transition, because I feel like now, because from what I was told, Tagaroth was in the comic book and he was a villain of Batwing, and because of what happened now and with Diggle's presence, maybe this puts Luke on the journey to becoming Batwing, and we finally get Batwing at the end of the season. So thank you for tuning in. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the Diggle reveal. What do you think Diggle's role is going to be next week? Does this put Luke on the road to becoming Batwing? And does Luke become Batwing before the season's over? Or does he start the process of building the suit at the end of the season and that trickles over into season 3? You can check me out on Twitter, check me out on Instagram, check me out on YouTube as well, because we just started a new week of DC TV. So we're doing DC TV, kicking it off with a little Batwoman, got Legends of Tomorrow coming up next. And then after that, we'll do The Flash and we'll do Superman. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So for Batwoman, for the city of Gotham, and for Batwing, take care, and I'm out this bitch.